This video is sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakurako. Before I do a hunt, I eat some Monster Hunter Dango. Fun to eat and make, just look at all these cats go. I'm getting pretty hungry, so let's go make some fluffy bunny dango, and it's all for me. In Monster Hunter Rise, there's a dizzying variety of flavors of dango in Komura Village's tea shop and canteen. Yomogi the chef and her Palico friends work hard to whip up this signature dish chock full of nutrients and benefits for monster hunters before they go out on a hunt. And although I still prefer the full-blown feasts in Monster Hunter World, I would still love to try all of these cute and colorful treats. There are 4 different types of dango in Monster Hunter Rise. There are the powerful flavors that boosts offense, determined flavors that boosts defense, unusual flavors that improves utility, and grandiose flavors that improves gathering. Today I'm just gonna look at the powerful flavors cause when I play, I'm all offense, baby. Maybe that's why I get carded all the time. Sorry team. To make some dango, you'll need 2 key ingredients, shiratamako and joshinko. Shiratamako is a special type of glutinous rice flour that's commonly used in traditional Japanese sweets. It's got such a cool texture, very coarse and unlike any other flour that I've seen. And joshinko is a Japanese rice flour made from short grain rice instead of glutinous rice. If you don't have joshinko, you should be able to use other rice flours from the grocery store as substitutes. However, shiratamako is a bit different. This was actually pretty hard to find and I had to go to a Japanese grocery store to grab this. You can use mochiko flour instead, which is cheaper and more readily available in Asian grocery stores, but the texture will be a bit different as shiratamako is more springy and mochiko is more chewy. So let's go ahead and make the base for our dango. In a bowl, add in 3/4 cup of shiratamako and add in 2/3 cups of joshinko. I'm also going to add in 1/3 cup of powdered sugar for sweetness, then add in a 2/3 cup of warm water, mix it all together with a spoon, and when it starts to clump up and the liquid is absorbed, then it's time to get your hands dirty and knead the dough until it's one smooth ball mixture. Apparently you're supposed to look for a consistency that's similar to an earlobe or a slightly softer Play-Doh. Then we're gonna take our dough and divide it up into 16 equal pieces. Now that we got them all divvied up, let's go ahead and add those awesome, powerful flavors. Starting off with a Sweetheart Dango, a dango with a subtle touch of sugary sweetness. Take a bite and relax. Since we already added some powdered sugar to our dango mix for that subtle sugary sweetness, I won't be adding any additional flavorings to this one. One thing I noticed though is that in the game it has a slightly warm off-white color, so I'm going to try to replicate that by adding just a bit of brown food coloring. I'm using gels because I like the accuracy of the color and I don't want to use the liquid ones because I'm afraid that extra moisture might mess up the consistency of the dough. Just use a tiny bit and fold it in until the color becomes consistent, and this Sweetheart Dango is going to be our control for this experiment. Next we have the Peach Scale. Its peach nectar taste and gooey texture can't be beat, favored by the local maidens. For this one, I'm going to use a bit of pink food coloring and a bit of yellow to get that peach coloration. If it's too pink or too yellow, then just add a bit more of the color you need to get the right balance. Then flatten it out and in the middle add a smidge of peach jam, and I'm also adding in a tiny piece of a canned peach. You don't want to get greedy with the filling and overfill because then you end up not being able to wrap it around and just ruining the dough. Carefully wrap up the fillings and roll it back into a ball, and this dango is just peachy. Up next, we got Cool to the Core, a dango made from apples. Like they say, one a day keeps the monsters away. For this one, we're going to mix in some yellow food coloring to get that yellowish apple core color. Then for the filling, I got some canned apple pie filling from the store, and I'm using a bit of the apple and some of the sauce. Again, careful not to overfill. Ball it up, and this dango is cool to the core. Next is the Mint Teacher, where each chew explodes with a cool minty blast, perfect for a break before you head out. For this one, to get that mint green color, I'm going to use a bit of teal food coloring with a bit of green. I'm also going to add in about a 1/4 teaspoon worth of mint extract, which hopefully makes it cool and minty. That mint extract smells so good. Knead it all together and flatten it out. I'm also going to add in something from what is probably my favorite mint flavored snack. I'm going to be scraping off half of the icing from a mint Oreo and having that as our dango filling. Not sure how this is going to turn out, but hey, that's what cooking is about. Roll it up and that dango is mint. Now we move on to the Dizzy Bloom, the taste of Renoplast egg infused with cherry notes, dizzyingly delicious. Starting off with the color, this looks purpley in the game, so I'm going to use some violet food coloring to achieve that look. Now I don't have Renoplast egg, but I have the next best thing, a regular egg. Apparently there is a type of dango called Bochan dango that have egg yolks added to it, so I'll take some inspiration from that and add about 1/8 teaspoon of egg yolks in here. I'll also add in 1/8 teaspoon of cherry flavoring. Knead it all up, and hopefully this is the egg cherry combination we're looking for. Now it's time for some fruit flash. Juicy fruity goodness packed into a dango. A juicy explosion in your mouth. For the color, the dango in the game looks orangey, so that's a color we're going for. My color gel is called copper, but I think this is going to work best for orange. For the flavor, I'm literally using up all the fruit extracts that I own. Some cherry extract, peach extract, orange extract, and even coconut extract. Mix it all together. Then to add in more fruity goodness, I'm even going to put in some fruit jam. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 more fruits. Place a bit in the middle and wrap it up. This has to be a fruit splosion, right? Speaking of splosions, the next one is bean splosion. A dango bursting with bundles of the best tasting beans. Bean appetit! I did not come up with that description, that was from the game, so don't blame me for the bad pun. When they say bean, I'm assuming they mean red beans, since red bean is often used with many traditional Japanese treats. So for the filling, I'm using red bean jam that I got from the Asian grocery store. This one is super easy since it's very easy to wrap the dough around the red bean filling. I'm not adding any more food coloring since this is the whitest looking dango in the game, so I'll let it be. Last, and I'm hoping not the least, is Secret Heart. The same relaxing sweetness you know, but now with a special something added in. Judging from that description and the fact that it looks almost the same as the Sweetheart Dango, I'm assuming it's almost the exact same thing, so I'm gonna color it the exact same way. Now for that special something, I'll be adding in this cute chocolate heart because chocolate is definitely a special something, and come on, a hidden chocolate heart inside a dango is exactly what the name says, a secret heart. I'm hoping it gets nice and gooey, and I can't wait to try it out. Whatever leftover dango balls you have, you can flavor them however you like. I lost a few along the way, but that's okay. Before we cook, let's soak some bamboo skewers in water. These will make it easier to slide the dango balls later. Now let's get cooking. In a boiling pot of water, gently place in the dango to cook and swirl it around every now and then so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Cook these until they start floating to the surface. When they start floating, cook it for another 2 minutes. Then have a bowl of ice water ready and transfer the dango in there to stop them from cooking and also to cool them down for handling. Once cooled, transfer the dango to a plate or a tray. Make sure you wet the surface first so that the dango doesn't stick. Then simply skewer the dango in any order you like. It's a super simple process that yields some pretty cute and hopefully tasty results. Now before I try these Japanese delicacies, let me tell you about this video's sponsor, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako. Tokyo Treat and Sakurako are both monthly subscription snack boxes delivered straight from Japan to your door. Tokyo Treat is full of popular Japanese candies and snacks like ramen, ramune, and Japanese exclusive Kit Kat, and Sakurako is a collection of authentic traditional Japanese snacks from Japan's local artisan snack makers. Both come with a different theme every month to keep things fresh and exciting. This month's theme for Tokyo Treat is Moon Festival Munchies, which contains a variety of seasonal and exclusive Japanese snacks inspired by Tsukimi, the Japanese festival for the autumn moon. You'll find treats like this salt lemon Kit Kat, which has a perfect balance of salty and tart, and this mikan mochi, which is delightfully light and chewy. Meanwhile, Sakurako celebrates Tsukimi through its Kyoto Moon Festival box, with snacks that celebrate Kyoto, the birthplace of Japan's Tsukimi celebration. The Gion Sujiri Hojicha tea pairs excellently with all the snacks such as these Kyoto candy, which are handmade and beautifully crafted, and this Hojicha latte pudding, which is silky smooth and aromatic. So if you want to experience Japanese culture through snacks, then grab yourself some Tokyo Treat for some popular Japanese snacks or Sakurako for traditional Japanese treats. Click the links in the description and you get some free extra snacks or items with your first order. Not only will you be supporting the channel, but more importantly, you'll have a bunch of snacks to try out. Now, on to the dango. I gotta say, I really like how these turned out visually. The dango look nice and smooth, and I love how all the different colors complement each other. But it's the inside that counts, so let's give these a try. First, let's try the Dizzy Bloom, which is supposed to be a mix of egg and cherry flavors. The texture of the Dango is nice and springy, but I'm not really getting the flavors of the egg and cherry. Maybe I needed to use more egg yolk, and instead of cherry extract, I probably should have used something with a bit more bite, maybe like an actual maraschino cherry in the middle or something. Overall, a bit disappointing since the flavor is pretty weak, but it can only go up from here, right? Next one is the Sweetheart Dango, which is just flavored with a little bit of sugar. Again, the texture is good and the taste isn't overly sweet, but for me, I have the taste buds of a 5-year-old and I like sickly sweet things, so next time I would probably up the sugar. Not bad for a first try. Next is the Cool to the Core Apple Dango. Is this gonna give me a bit more flavor? Yeah, this one delivers. The apple piece in the middle is nice and sweet and it still has a bit of crunch, which is a nice contrast to the soft Dango. I would probably cut a bigger piece of apple next time, but I'm very happy with how this turned out. Best one so far. The next one I tried after that is the Fruit Flash, and I apologize for the missing footage. I had a bit of a mishap when shooting, as you can see, but I hope you can just try to imagine. The Fruit Flash was not the Fruit Splosion that I wanted. I barely tasted the jam and the mix of fruit extracts didn't really taste like anything recognizable, so you're not missing much by not seeing me eat this anyway. Then I tried the Peach Scale, which was actually pretty good. Like the apple one, it was nice to bite into that peach center, but it wasn't as good as the apple one because it was lacking that crunch. Next I tried the Bean Splosion, which was pretty good, and the red bean filling is just such a good classic pairing. And the Secret Heart with the chocolate middle was also very tasty, with a melty chocolate core that made it taste way different than all the other ones. Last and definitely not the least, I tried the Miniature, and oh my goodness, this is an eye-opening revelation. This is by far the best one of the bunch. You get the fragrance and the cooling sensation from the mint extract, but the star of the show is that mint Oreo filling. Smooth and creamy, and it even has a bit of crunch to it, which is surprising since I left out the cookie part. Maybe the sugar in the icing crystallized when I cooked it. Whatever I did, it sure worked. You heard it here first, Oreo cream and mochi is a match made in heaven. Okay, a quick ranking. In last place is the Dizzy Bloom, 7th place is Fruit Flash, 6th place is Sweetheart, 5th is Peach Scale, 4th is Secret Heart, the bronze medal goes to Bean Splosion, the silver goes to Cool to the Core, and the gold standard of powerful Bunny Dango goes to Miniature. Lessons learned: add more sugar next time to the base mix, use more solid fillings instead of extracts and jam for a better texture and flavor. Oreo cream goes well with everything. And don't forget to hit record on your camera if you're filming something, you dum-dum. Hope you liked this video and picked up something from my Dango experiments, and I wish you the best of luck in your cooking adventures. Later.